How's it going, everyone? Sethphir here, and welcome back to another Tower of Fantasy video. We all know that Frigg is going to be the next character in the limited banner right after Nemesis concludes, so it's probably time that we start talking about this character and how she's going to shape the meta. Keep in mind that all this footage is from a test server with a test account, so shout out to the developers for allowing us the opportunity to go ahead and see what it's like. But I'm going to show you a bit of the gameplay, all of the moves in terms of attacks, the skills, the ultimate, and then we'll wrap it up by talking about some meta theory crafting and look at the details towards the end of the video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I'll offer my ideas and thoughts on what I think of Frigg and how that's going to change everything. So Frigg is a very powerful character. She is a DPS and sort of shatter hybrid. She does have decent charge and can shatter shields, but I think she's just more a damage character. She has a lot of really nice attack moves. She has a 5-piece ground attack combo, as you can see here, which is quite pretty cool and flashy. She also has a 5-piece aerial combo, which is very, very nice as well. So she has a lot of good animations in her moves. And probably one of the better parts about this character is her dodge. You get this nice little like katana-like draw sword thing going on. And her dodge animation does get you quite far. As you can see, like the mirror images of me get me a good distance away, and it feels like what seems like forever almost. So those are going to be the kind of the core mechanics for her. Her special combos are going to be you can hold down the button to rise into the air and sort of launch enemies up, so then you can combo them from there. And if you're in the air, you can hold down the attack button to fall to the ground with a helix slash, which is also very powerful. And yes, I did test it. If you have a target, you can kind of jetpack Frigg. It's not as crazy as Crow, but you can definitely do it. It will drain your stamina though, so that's pretty interesting to see. Her special ability is going to lay down an ice domain or ice field like so, and when you're in this, you can infinitely dodge. Yep, you heard it right. You can infinitely dodge. So you can just keep dodging and spamming attacks as long as this domain is down, and it's also going to increase your shatter and frost damage while you're in there. She pairs very, very well with other frost weapons like Meryl, Coco, Tsubasa, and you can have a lot of really good synergy for this character. So we'll go ahead and show you the ultimate as well. I'm just going to use Coco to kind of generate some charge here so we can get an example of what the ultimate looks like. So this will be Frigg's ultimate here. So big ol' here, you're going to pierce them and slash, and that's going to knock them into the air. So you're going to get a really, really satisfying effect there with this weapon. And I think that this is going to be a very dangerous weapon and probably very, very, very strong going into the meta in the future. So let's go ahead and head over to our info website, and shout out to everybody involved in that project at the Tower of Fantasy info section. So we're going to check that one out. We're going to take a look at how she is on the Chinese version and what we think she's going to come as the global launch and the predictions for that. So let's go ahead and dive in. Alright, and here we are on the Tower of Fantasy Index website, and we are going to take a look at Frigg. So we're going to look at what's on the Chinese version, but keep in mind that the global version can greatly differ. So if we take a look at the character, it is an ice weapon, and the DPS category, the weapon name is Balmung. It does have decent shatter at the A ranking at 8.0, and decent charge as well, also at A ranking of 8.0, which is a nice mixture for a DPS character. Since she's the ice element, she will proc the ice shield passive when you fill your meter to full, so you're going to freeze somebody solid, and you're also going to do a little bit of additional damage as well as lower their charge rate. And then going into her passive, it's going to just talk about Thimble Winter, which is the one skill. Essentially, when you create that domain of ice, you're going to get infinite dodges, and you're going to increase the attack of ice weapons and the shatter by a certain percent, so 15 and 25, and eventually that might be changed, remember, because we don't know how it's going to work on the global version. And I know some people are talking about, oh, Frigg might get ice resonance, and if she does, that's actually going to be insane. She will be really, really powerful with that, so we'll have to see the fine-tuning and the numbers, but just wait a bit because we don't know any of that stuff for sure, and they're constantly changing and adjusting, so we'll have to see when it comes out. So we'll go ahead and dive into the star advancements. So for the first star, you're going to gain 1 point of frostiness, which I like as a name for a buff. It just sounds a little weird, but you know, we'll take it. So every time you receive a certain amount of damage, frost attack threshold, you're going to get this frostiness. You can get up to 10 points of frostiness, and when your domain ends, your frostiness points times your frost attack will deal like sort of damage in that domain. So it's going to allow you to deal extra DPS while you're in this area, essentially, which is going to be very powerful. 2-star, of course, is just a flat stat increase. We're going to take HP here, which is weird that it's not attack. Some weapons have attack, some weapons have HP, and that's definitely a little bizarre, but it's okay for the most part. The 3-star is going to increase that buff limit up to 15, which is going to be really nice. And then when you use the discharge of your frost skills, you're also going to increase damage for frost spell by 25% roughly to all targets within there. So that's going to be nice, a good bolster on DPS and damage. And then the 4-star, we have the 32% attack increase. 5th star, we are going to be allowing Shattering Shields using the Frost weapon will freeze the target for 2 seconds and cause damage equal to frostiness points times frost attack times 35% of additional damage. So basically, the higher stacks you have, the better you're going to do. But the important part there is when you shatter their shields, they're getting frozen for 2 seconds solid, which is good because stuns in this game are absolutely massive. And I know those of you climbing the Bygone Phantasm are like, oh yeah, if I could just freeze this guy solid, that would definitely be great. The 6th and final star will allow you to reach 15 stacks of that frostiness thing, and then you will also generate ice attack by 25% while in the domain as well, so additional 25%. So that's quite a lot of ice boosting abilities. So the more ice characters you have with this character, the better it's gonna be. So it'll definitely be pretty interesting to see how all that pans out. Here we have the attack percents for the attacks listed. She has some decent scaling, especially on the final hits of some of these. And then she also has pretty good like jumping aerials and holding things. So you got some good number scaling here. We'll see how it all like pans out in the end. And then the dodge slash, of course, is really powerful. And that's going to be the one you're going to be spamming a lot inside of the domain. So that's going to be really good to do. There is the 1 skill Fimbulwinter starting at the 577% damage plus attack, which is absolutely massive, and it does have a small iframe on it when you use the skill, so that's very important, especially with a 30-second cooldown, so that's quite nice. The skill will be up pretty much a majority of the time. And then finally, her discharge, the Frigid Fracture, which is going to do that giant slash animation that we saw before, granting a large amount of damage. 618% is a huge number, especially with attack scaling as well, so that's going to be very nice to see. In terms of matrices, we won't have access to Saki Fuwa yet, so we're probably looking at things like 2-piece Samir, 2-piece Crow. You could also use the 4-piece matrices for Frigg, but we'll talk about that a little bit down the line because that may or may not be the best. And Sobek is always a solid choice. And then finally, to wrap everything up with her, she does have a special Simulacrum trait for Awakening that is quite powerful if you're running that Frost team. So her 1200 point Awakening is going to increase your Frost attack by 1.5 for 3 seconds when you enter battle, and it's going to stack up to 10 times, and it lasts for 5 seconds. So basically, when you get inside of there, you're going to just start ramping up damage. This will be really nice. And then the 4000 point is going to increase that number by 2.4, and it's going to allow it to just stick in. But you're also going to get the extra bonus of getting hyper body and immune to crowd control effects while in the Frost domain. So that's going to be very, very powerful in terms of the Bygone Phantasm and any other hard content. So all in all, I think this character is very strong. I think that she's going to have a very big impact on the meta. I think that we may see a shift towards ice. However, depending on if she comes out with the ice resonance or not will probably be a good determining factor, and also if her numbers stay the same from the Chinese version, then that will also determine how good she will be. Currently, I'm planning when this character comes out to maybe even run like Nemesis, Frigg, and another ice weapon, because I feel like a 6-star Nemesis, like having those totems up does a lot of damage, and then having Frigg plus another ice DPS could probably be really strong in terms of just raw damage output. So we'll see how it goes, but we do know that as time goes on, the limited banner characters usually end up replacing the characters in the standard banner, so just keep that in mind. That's why everybody says, hey, save your dark crystals for the limited characters, because they do sort of overpower the standard characters as time goes on. Alright, that's going to be it for this one. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you enjoy this content and would like to see more in the future, or you found anything in here useful. Thanks for your time and watching the video, and keep in mind that we will be live streaming every single day at 6 p.m. EST, so if you want to stop by and ask me some more questions about Frigg or anything else within the game, I'm happy to answer. Thanks for your time, and we will catch you in the next video.